Hey, sup, y'all? It's me, your boy Puddin. Nah, I'm just kidding, but for real, we're back at Agatha with the Unholy Death Knight. Just like I said, managed to scrounge some nether shards together, so we can go ahead and get that going. Just so you know, this character is 914 item level. I have the Lanathel's Lament tank ring and the Acris Drapes tank cloak. So not super well geared. I actually don't play this character a whole lot, so I am not super familiar with this spec. That being said, I am running with Defile to be able to take care of the ads a little bit easier. Obviously, I have the Sludge Belcher here with me, good old Gurgle Crush. And then I'm basically just running, otherwise, what the internet says is a nice build for this. Sorry, for this challenge. Sorry, I was just reading some of these other ones, but I think we're good to go on that. Just like with the Rogue Challenge, I am doing the Light Blood Elixir, the Falcasaur Omelet, the Sylvan Elixir. You can use those here because once again we are in Azuna, and those are usable on the Broken Shore, so we're good to go with that. Of course, got my Defiled Augment rune. And then the drums and the potions. Special shout out to Mad for those drums of fury. As long as he keeps putting them in the bank, I'm gonna keep stealing them. We're gonna go ahead and pop our potion of prolonged power, get our ghoulies up, and I'm actually going to try bloodlusting on the start of this fight. I have tried this a couple times now, and what I was doing before was saving bloodlust for the middle of the fight. And what I've noticed, and this might just be because I'm a bad player, it may also have something to do with this actual spec, but I tend to burst the boss down really fast, to about 50%, and then after she teleports and all my cool stuff runs out, I have a hard time going beyond that point. So I just wanted to try a strategy where I pop everything right away. Just burn the boss down as quickly as possible. I think the faster I can get through the fight, the better off I'll be, basically. When is that ever not true? But you can see we already have her to below 40% here. And there's our first Dark Fury. These Fuming Imps, I found that you can more or less ignore them. You can more or less ignore the Fuming Imps as long as you put them somewhere kind of out of the way. As you can see, I kind of moved off to the side and then let that one explode there. These little guys are super annoying as a Death Knight. Sorry, you can't grip them. So as you can see, that Dark Fury went on for a really long time, but that's actually okay because the Death Knight has the Dark Sucker passive, where basically every time I kill those ads, I get a free Death Strike. So, you know, that basically is going to keep me alive throughout the entirety of her little tantrum there, as long as I have that up. As long as I have ads to kill during that Dark Fury phase, I can basically just stand there and deal with it. Again, we want to avoid those big pain in the ass. Sorry, I'm kind of concentrating. She just summoned ads at the same time as Dark Fury. Again, no problem, because as long as I can kill the ads quickly, I'll have plenty of those free death strikes to get off. So just so you know, if she teleports and still has the shield on her, she stops casting Dark Fury, so it's not as important to break that shield, other than in terms of actually being able to DPS the boss. So in that regard, I can actually just leave that shield up and go to town on her. And go to town on the ads, rather. So we got her at about 10% here. I should be able to buff my guy up, pop the rest of these runes, and that should be the fight. So as you can see, once again, a pretty simple fight. It is, as always, just knowing how and when to kill the ads and when you should be targeting the boss. I found that the ads are much less of a priority for the Death Knight because your AoE is just good enough that, like, you can just drop Defile, or even if you're using Death and Decay, you know, if your survivability is good enough for it. If you're dropping Death and Decay on top of the ads and then just beating the hell out of the boss, those ads are going to die too fairly quickly. So that's all there really is to it. The couple of, like, small keynotes. The small flaming ads cannot be death gripped, but your little guy can pull them, which is kind of irritating. Those channeling ads, you can interrupt those, and that's the easiest way I found to deal with those, since Death Knights don't really have any stun abilities when you're using the Sludge Belcher. Obviously, if you're using the smaller ghoul, then you can smack them with the ghoul stun. But this guy, I feel like, is better overall. So yeah, the best way I found to deal with those guys is to just interrupt them, or like death grip them over. Like I said with the fuming ads, it's best to just kind of let them pop wherever they're, whenever they're up, instead of trying to burn them down, unless you really need a Dark Sucker proc. The only time where you really saw me killing those guys was if it was just convenient, because they were in the way, or you know, if I could get a Dark Sucker proc off of it, which would help me survive the fight a little bit easier. I have noticed that this fight gets increasingly difficult as time goes on with the Death Knight, which is the reason I popped everything just right at the beginning. Like I said, the longer this whole fight goes, the more difficult it gets, the more you just have to track and be aware of. I think the more ads, like, she'll spawn at a time. I could be wrong about that. This fight never lasts more than like 6 minutes for me. I mean, you can see right here, impossible foe down after 3 minutes and 3 seconds. So, I mean, that was, you know, not even the span of another prolonged potion. Oh yeah, one last thing to note: you can, if you really need to, put that hook on a keybind, his hook ability on a keybind, and use that to pull ads too. I was trying it for a little while, but it was really just more micromanagement than I really felt like dealing with, especially with everything I was already doing. But you know, if your defensive capability is a little lower than mine, like I said, I do have tank legendaries. If your defensive capability is a little lower, then it might be something to consider, just to be able to pull those buffing ads out of their little cast. If you pull them out, you have about 6 seconds before they can cast again, where they'll just follow you around and like auto attack you. And then obviously you can kind of group all the ads up into a nice little death ball and burn them all down. I think that's about it. Once again, Agatha on the Unholy Death Knight. Not a super difficult fight, as long as you, you know, come in here prepared with the right consumables. These consumables really make this a stupidly easy fight, although they are a little difficult to get your hands on. I didn't want to farm the Astral Glory for the Light Blood Elixir, so I looked at Light Blood Elixirs on the auction house, and it was like 20,000 gold for 5 of them. If you need those to do this challenge, just hit me up, and I will get them for you. Obviously this is specifically for you guild members. I'll grab those Light Blood Elixirs for you. They don't take a super long time to farm up. They're just kind of annoying. But yeah, that's all there is to it. You know, once again, let me know if you want to see any more classes, or if there's a class you specifically want to see. If it's something I haven't done yet or I'm capable of doing, I'll definitely put some time into it. You know, I got nothing else to do in this game until August, so, you know, let me know. And have a good night.